during the 70s, the 77, 78, the block parties in Brooklyn, New York. I was that little shorty on the side, you know, just hanging out, kind of checking everything out, seeing what was going on with the DJ and what have you. And I knew from then that that's what I wanted to do, for sure. The first time I ever laid my hands on a pair of turntables was when I was about 12 years old. Practiced every day after school, you know, really learned the craft, learned how to put records together, cut, scratch, blend, all that stuff. In '85 was also the same year that I first entered a recording studio and messed around with that and learned how to use drum machines. So between '85 and '91, I would say I was really honing in on my craft as a producer and a DJ. And that was also when I formed my group, the Jig Masters. Me and Krim got the little 8-track recorder, and I started making beats, buying breaks, chopping them up, you know. During that time, the early 90s, that's when the production thing really kicked in. Well, first of all, we had analog tape. We had 2-inch tape machines, we had half-inch tape machines, and things were getting done a lot slower back then. If you calculate the amount of time you spent rewinding a tape to go back to a position in the song to re-record a verse or re-record choruses or cuts, you probably will chop your whole session in half. You know, with the internet, you know, you can get whole albums done without having anybody in the studio with you. You know, you can send files back and forth and they'll send you back their vocals or whatever they're contributing to the project online. A lot of the reasons why monumental records and projects were the way they were is because of the whole experience in the studio. And I miss that, especially with hip hop. I miss that especially because you can hear how much fun it took to make a record. You know, you have dudes dropping in the studio. If there's 2 MCs in a room and they're going back and forth trading lines off with each other, there's an energy there that you don't have. You lose the personal contact, the personal touch when it comes to making a record. But the flip side of that is things get done a lot quicker. Some of the first gear that I started using was definitely the SB12, the SB1200, and there was this keyboard sampler called the Emax, which is the precursor to the ASR-10. I jumped straight out the SB12 and a Kai 950 combination, which a lot of producers were using in the 90s, into the MPC 3000. From the 3000, I went straight to Machine, which is what I'm using now. So I kind of go back and forth between Machine and the 3000, depending on the feel that I want, the vibe that I want. As far as recording goes, when I started out, it was actually 1/4 inch. We did a lot of stuff on 4 tracks back in the days. Even cassettes, I had like an 8-track Tascam Porter Studio. We used to have to bounce tracks down, bounce, because we didn't have that many. During the whole Jig Masters raucous era, a lot of that stuff was done on ADAT machine. I was running 3 ADAT machines. I had 24 tracks of digital tape. And once I started getting really nice with the Pro Tools system, the tape machines were just over with. Whatever you use is fine as long as you can get it done. My thing is, you know, just listen to music. Just, you know, all of the greats that came before us, from the Premiers to the Pete Rocks and the Large Pros and the Diamonds and all these guys, they're music heads. They're not just hip hop heads, you know. I'm pretty sure if you ask any of us what we listen to in our spare time, it probably will not be a hip hop record. Buy records, buy vinyl, study the art, study musicians, study labels, study, you know, all of the great records and great projects that were made in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and try to figure out what made those records good records and put those ideas into your musicianship, into your productions as well. If you want to be something that stands the test of time, you got to do your homework.